Hey guys, so I recently took like 12 or 13 days off of work to travel and be with family, and when I went back, I had a little teeny tiny bit of the jitters. I was able to get over it pretty easily and pretty well and ended up having a fantastic first shift back. But I wanted to share with you guys what I had set myself up for over the past 2 to 3 years to be able to do that. Because I know that when you take a long time off and you come back to that shift, or when you come into your first shift, or when you go to your first clinical, it can be a little bit terrifying. So how do you get over that anxiety? How do you build the confidence to go in there and just crush it because you know that you're able to? Well, by the end of this video, you should have a couple things in your toolbox that you can utilize to really help you build that confidence so you never get those jitters again. Okay, so it's your very first night or day shift that you're working all by yourself, or it's your very first clinical experience. Maybe you're just coming back from a huge vacation that you took and it was 2 to 3 weeks long. Now you're feeling what? Panic. You're nervous. Maybe you didn't sleep the night before or the day before. Maybe you're worried that you forgot all of your nursing skills or everything that you learned in class or in school. Trust me, those feelings are all normal. The problem is when those feelings become completely debilitating. I found in my experience is building your own self-confidence truly does help you avoid those pitfalls and those times when you are just stuck and debilitated and don't know where to go. Don't paralyze yourself with fear and anxiety and worry. Don't lose sleep over going to your next shift or to your first shift. You have the tools that you need. You just have to pull them out of you. Everything that you need is already within you. Let's talk about what you already have within you and how you can pull it out. So a couple things that I have been doing over the past 2 to 3 years consistently to help me see the success in my confidence level when I go back after a long break or when I go back to my first day on the unit is that every single day I take time to reflect and think about myself. So first of all, every day I write down what I am grateful for. So not only do I write down what I'm grateful for every single day, I write down the things that I did well yesterday, and I write down the things that I want to work on for today. Then at the very bottom of that, I write down my visualizations and my affirmations along with my schedule for the day. Maybe my schedule for that day is just to go to work and get through work, and that's totally fine. But at the bottom of that, I will write down my visualizations and my affirmations for what I want my day to look like. And I really do believe in this piece, but let's break it down step by step. So in that very first piece, always living in gratitude is something that some of the most successful people in the world do. People like Oprah and Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or Mel Robbins. They are amazing people, and every single day they do a very consistent thing. They practice gratitude. They remember the things that got them to where they are, and they could be simple little teeny things like, today I'm really thankful for the heat because it is freezing outside. Those little things of gratitude every day that you have will really put you in a positive mindset for the rest of the day. Next thing that I focus on is what is it that I rocked at the day before? And a lot of times people are like, do you find it hard to find things that you rocked at the day before? And the answer to this is I used to, but not anymore. Why? Because I took the pressure off. Now, those things that I did really well, they don't necessarily have to be life-changing, mountain-moving things. Sometimes it's just that I woke up and I made my bed. Some mornings I forget to do that, and when I do that, it feels really good. So that's something I rocked out for the day. That's what I'll write down. Other days it is awesome things. Other days it is that I caught an RRT situation way earlier than I would have a year ago. So give yourself grace and know that the things that you rocked out don't necessarily have to always be some huge monumental things. Then I always write down not the things that I struggle at or suck at, but the things that I want to work on. So maybe I am having anxiety. I want to work on having a positive mindset, so I'll write that down. I always frame what I want to work on as a positive thing and not a negative thing. I don't want to worry about, oh my gosh, I really suck at being positive. Like, that's not going to put me in a good mindset. Instead, I'm going to say, I'm going to focus on positivity today. So that's what I focus on for what I want to work on for today. The next section is always my schedule. And after that, it is my visualization and affirmation. Something that I didn't used to do, and now that I do it, I've seen a ton of success. So actually, I started doing this when I was studying for my NCLEX. Every day, I would take a 20 to 30 minute break and I would go for a walk and I would repeat over to myself, you are a registered nurse that is kicking ass on a unit. You are a registered nurse already. You are working on orientation as a registered nurse and you're doing a fantastic job. And I would repeat these things, the things that I wanted to already be doing, and I would say them and live them as if I was already there. Doing this does a couple things for you. It elevates your energy and it elevates who you are in terms of your mindset. So when you sit down to study and you already have that mindset of like, oh, I'm already there, I've already crushed it, you're going to study with such a higher frequency and such a better amount of energy. So if you're in school, that applies to you. But if you're not, that's okay. You can do the same thing when you're going back to your unit. Thinking about things like, I'm gonna crush my assessments for today, or I'm gonna crush charting and I'm gonna be done before my shift is over. Whatever it is that you wanna visualize going really well, or the thing that maybe causes you a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of those jitters, whatever it is, visualize that you are doing an amazing job, and it makes it so much easier. So where can you do this? You can literally do it in a journal, you can do it in your own planner, you can actually use the Empower 90, and I will tag it below this video if that's something that you want to try out. I do have an entire community that is doing this now with their Empower 90, and it's honestly the way that I built up my confidence and my empowerment as a nursing student and as a brand new nurse. Every day I focus on these things, and it really does help to build me up to the person that I want to be every day. When I'm visualizing what it is that I want, I'm more likely to get there. Think about this. I actually heard this story a while ago. Imagine that there is this really long highway in Nevada in the middle of the desert, and it's not a busy highway. Cars come and go, but on this highway, the only thing that's there other than the desert are telephone poles. There's a study that's actually been done on this highway because cars kept running into these telephone poles that were 30 feet apart from one another. Why were people doing that? Why were people running into telephone poles when they were driving on a stretch of desert for miles that had literally nothing else on it? And it's because they took their focus off of the road ahead of them and where they wanted to be going and put their focus on the telephone poles. So driving your car is very similar to driving your life. When you take your eyes off of the road to look over at something else, you're more likely to drive towards that. So if you're constantly focused on anxiety and worry, you're going to build up and drive towards that anxiety and worry. But if you're constantly fixing yourself, oh, I'm anxious and worried, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm anxious and worried, I'm gonna bring it back to what I want, to what I need in my life. If you're constantly doing that, you're gonna see so much more success in hitting the targets that you want to hit. Visualization is such an important part of life and seeing success, especially with confidence. So you have a ton of tips now in order to really see success with those first couple days of going back on the job. Now, let's say you're like, okay, that's more like a long-term thing. I need some quick tips. Cool. Let's say you're going into your shift or your clinical tomorrow. This is what you can do. Do some exercise, meditate, journal, or watch something or listen to something that you really enjoy that can get your mind off of what it is you're worried about. I had a psychiatrist when I was super, super anxious years ago before I started doing all of these awesome things for my brain and my body. And he told me that anxiety is literally just your brain working in overdrive to worry about whatever is going to be happening in the future. And a lot of times, once you dig in so deep with your anxiety, it's really hard to get back out of it. So what you have to do is trick your brain into thinking about something else. And the best way for me to do that was to watch TV shows that literally had nothing to do with my life. So I watched things like Vampire Diaries and I fell in love with it, and that would move my energy away from the worry of the future and the worry of the things that were going on in my life and move it into something different. When I was done watching a couple episodes, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on the day, then I would be a lot calmer. My mind would be taken off of whatever it was that I was super worried about. So if you're in that state right now where you are just that deep in your anxiety, try to trick your mind into enjoying something else or thinking about something else that has nothing to do with what it is you're worried about. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for you and you really utilize some of this. The Empower 90 journals are going to be tagged below. Check them out if you think that's something that's going to help you build your confidence and decrease your anxiety and worry about going into your clinical or going into your next shift. Bye, guys.